Good day, everyone. My name is Juliet J. Lugatiman from BE Ed 2, and my topic is all about the Magna Carta of Women. So, let's talk about Republic Act 9710, the various existing law and policies to empower and protect women and ensure equal rights and opportunities for men and women. RA number 9710, otherwise known as the Magna Carta of Women. So first, the background. The Act, which is a consolidation of Senate Bill number 2396 and House Bill number 4273, was finally passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives on May 19, 2009. Respectively, it was signed into law by President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo on August 14, 2009 and took effect on September 15 of the same year. So, this law is about 7 years in the making. What is Magna Carta of Women? The Magna Carta of Women is comprehensive women's human rights law that seeks to eliminate discrimination against women by recognizing, protecting, fulfilling, and promoting the rights of Filipino women, especially those in marginalized sector. So, to make it short, the Republic Act is about recognizing and protecting women's rights and banning discrimination against women. So, as you can see, marginalized sector is given focus. Who are they? Of course, the urban poor, indigenous people, person with disability, fisher folk, small farmers and rural workers, worker in the formal economy, workers in the informal economy, children, women, senior citizens, solo parents, Moro, migrant workers. What is discrimination against women? Any gender-based distinction, exclusion, or restriction which has the effect of impairing the recognition, enjoyment, exercised by women with freedoms in the political, economic, social, cultural, civil, and other fields. Any act of omission that directly restricts women or their rights and access to opportunities, benefits, and privileges. Discrimination compounded with their status condition such as ethnicity, age, poverty, and religion. So now, I will be presenting to you the rights of women under RA 9710. First, the protection from all forms of violence, including those committed by the state. Within the next 5 years, there shall be an incremental increase in the recruitment and training of women in the police force, forensics, and medico-legal, legal services, and social work services availed of by women who are victims of gender-related offenses until 50% of the personnel thereof shall be women, that is according to Section 9A. So, this means that there should be equal ratio of men and women when it comes to hiring and training in any work services in the military organization. Security is given, of course, in situations such as emergencies, armed conflict, and militarization. All government personnel's mandatory training and gender and human rights. All local government units shall establish a violence against women desk in every barangay to ensure that the violence against women cases are fully addressed in a gender-responsive manner, that is according to Section 9C. Second, protection, security in times of disaster, calamities, and other crisis situations. So, it is the responsibility of the national, regional, and local disaster coordination councils to ensure the safety and protection of women and children in times of disasters and calamities. So, third, participation and representation of all women. Capacity women employees to strengthen their qualifications and performance for third-level positions. So this means that within the next 5 years, the number of women in the third-level position in government shall be incrementally increased to achieve a 50-50 gender balance according to Section 7 of Position in the Career Services. The third-level position shall be cover positions in the career executive services. Example, under Secretary Assistant, Secretary Jury Director, or Assistant Bureau Director. For example, in the Department of Education, we have the Schools Division Superintendent or the Assistant Schools Superintendent. Or in the Bureau of Fire Protection, we have the Fire Chief Superintendent. So those being mentioned are examples of third-level positions. Increased participation of women, at least 40% membership to all development councils. Representation of women or women's group in policy and decision-making bodies in the international, national, and local bodies. Examples, the RA 7160, which is an act providing for a local government code of 1991. It is a code providing representatives for women in all of 1,600 local legislative from Sangguniang Lalawigan up to Sangguniang Pambarangay. This is consistent with the 1987 Constitution recognizing women vitals. Vital role in nation building. Another example is RA 7941 that which is the party list lower in the 1987 constitutions provide that there should be a party list representatives and the women's sector is to be allocated. Third is equal treatment before the law. Repeal or amend the existing laws that are discriminatory to women. This means that all laws that are discriminatory to women shall be modified or changed. Example, the Family Code from Article 14, giving preference to the father consent to the marriage of children between 18 and 21. This consent shall be manifested in writing by the interested party, who personally appears before the proper local civil registrar, or in the form of an affidavit made in the preference of 2 witnesses and attested before any official authorized by law to administer oath. The personal manifestation shall be recorded in both applications for marriage license and the affidavit. If one is executed instead, shall be attached to said applications. Thus, if the mother consents but the father objects to the marriage, there is no valid consent to the said marriage. On the other hand, even when the mother may have serious objections to the marriage, the child's father could decide otherwise and the mother's reservation will be left unheeded. Next, Article 96, giving preference to the husband's decision on the administration of conjugal properties. the administration and enjoyment of the community property shall belong to both spouses jointly. In case of disagreement, the husband's decision shall prevail, subject to recourse to the court by the wife for proper remedy, which must be availed of within 5 years from the date of the contract implementing such decisions. Next, Article 211, giving preference to the husband's decision over the persons of their common children. The father and the mother shall jointly exercise parental authority over the persons of their common children. In case of disagreement, the father's decision shall prevail unless there is a judicial order to contrary. Next, Article 225, giving preference to the husband's decision on the exercise of legal guardianship over the property of an emancipated common child. So the father and the mother shall jointly exercise legal guardianship over the property of an emancipated common child without the necessity of a court appointment. In case of disagreement, the father's decision shall prevail unless there is judicial order to contrary. Next, Article 55. Repeated physical abuse, grossly abuse, conduct as ground for legal separation. Third, equal treatment before the law. So, and Revised Penal Code Article 333 on adultery and concubinage. Article 333, who are guilty of adultery is committed by any married woman who shall have sexual intercourse with a man not her husband, and by the man who has carnal knowledge of her, knowing her to be married, even if the marriage be subsequently declared void. Adultery shall be punished by prison correctional in its medium and maximum periods. If the person guilty of adultery committed this offense while being abandoned with justification by the offended spouse, the penalty next lower to degree than that provided in the next preceding paragraph shall be imposed. Second, Article 220 on the definition of vagrants and prostitutions. In legal use of public funds or property, any public officer who shall apply any public fund or property under his administration to any public use other than that for which such fund or property were appropriate by law or ordinance shall suffer the penalty of prison correctional in its minimum period, or a fine ranging from 1/2 to the total value of the sum misapplied if by reason of such misapplication any damage of embarrassment shall have resulted to the public service. In this case, the offender shall also suffer the penalty of temporary special disqualification. If no damage or embarrassment to the public service has resulted, the penalty shall be a fine from 5 to 50% of the sum misapplied. Next, Article 351 on premature marriages. In Article 351, any widow who shall marry within the 301 days from the date of the death of her husband or before having delivered if she shall have been pregnant at the time of his death, shall be punished by aristomeor and fine not exceeding 500 pesos. The same penalties shall be imposed upon any woman whose marriage shall have been annulled or dissolved. If she shall marry before her delivery or before the expiration of the period of 301 days after the legal separation. So Article 247 of the Revised Penal Code, death of physical injuries is inflicted under exceptional circumstances. Any legal married person who, having surprised his spouse in the act of committing sexual intercourse with other person, shall kill any of them or both of them in the act of immediately thereafter, or shall inflict upon them any serious physical injury, shall suffer the penalty of destierro. Fourth, equal access and elimination of discrimination in education, scholarship, and training. For DepEd, CHED, and TISDA to develop and promote gender-sensitive curriculum, educational materials, capacity building for faculty and personnel. One good example of this is the program Alternative Learning System or ALS from DepEd, and that will cater many Filipinos, especially mothers who did not finish schools. With this, they will have the chance to attend and finish school. TISDA is also offering courses such as driving, welding, caregivers, and other vocational training, and good thing that they allow women to take the course. With this is really gender equality. Next, enrollment of women in non-traditional skills training and vocational and tertiary level shall be encouraged. Expulsion and non-readmission of women faculty and students due to pregnancy outside of marriage shall be outlawed. Pregnant students shall be assisted while in school of available support, services, and counseling to ensure completion of their studies. Next, women in sports. Train more female coaches for girls and women teams. Conduct activities such as sports, clinics, and seminars for potential female leaders, coaches, and teachers at least once a year. Provide equal incentives and awards for both men and women for any competition. Provide sufficient funds and equal opportunities for women athletes and coaches. Next, number 6, women in military, police, and other similar services. Grant same privileges and opportunities on pay increases, benefits, awards, and remunerations. Equal consideration in the area of field assignment, functions, and peacekeeping duties where women can exercise and develop their full potentials. Consideration on women's physical and biological built-in physical fitness test as requirements for entry promotions or schoolings. Accord women and men the same capacity to act and enter into contracts, including marriage, except for such positions where marriage ban for a specific period of time is required for both men and women. Provide the benefits under existing laws such as maternity leaves, solo parent privileges, and leaves due to gynecological disorders. Ensure the rights of women in the military and police to decent and separate facilities and personal protective equipment to ensure their safety. Establish a child care facility, breastfeeding, room for military, police and other women employees. Increase the quota to 20% for female to PMA, OCS, PNPA, PPCS, PPSC. Concerned agencies shall support women in the military training and peacekeeping operations. Next, number 7, non-discriminatory and derogatory portrayal of women in media and film. The dignity of women and their roles and contribution in all spheres of private and public life shall be promoted. OPS shall provide overall directions, guidance, and monitoring as lead agency of government mass media, enhancement of programming, production, and image making that present women needs, issues, and concern. Self-regulatory for media, television, cable, film, and advertising shall also ensure compliance with the Act. Creation of local media board in all LGUs to monitor the implementation shall be encouraged. The monitor of implementation. Self-regulatory for media, television, cable, film, and advertising shall also ensure compliance with the Act. Creation of local media board in all LGUs to monitor the implementation shall be encouraged to monitor the implementation. Next, number 8, women's right to health. Access to comprehensive health program. Maternal care, such as prenatal, delivery, and postnatal infant health and nutrition. Promotion of breastfeeding and proper nutrition for lactating mothers. Responsible, ethical, legal, safe, and effective family planning. Number 8, women's right to health. Access to comprehensive health program. Family and state collaboration in youth, sexuality education, and health services without prejudice to the duty of parents to educate their children. Prevention and management of sexuality transmitted infections, human immunodeficiency virus, and acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Prevention and management of reproductive tract cancers and other gynecological conditions and disorders. In case of VAWC victims, comprehensive health services shall be provided, such as psychosocial, therapeutic, medical, and legal interventions, care of elderly women, management, treatment, and intervention of mental health problems of women and girls. Roles of agencies o Department of Health. Review, revise existing health programs, projects, and develop plans and guidelines. Formulate education and advocacy strategies. Establish coordination mechanism with other stakeholders and concerned agencies to reduce maternal mortality. Institutionalize a sex disaggregated data bank or health-related concerns. Monitor, evaluate health and nutrition program. Women's right to health. Roles of agencies. DepEd. DepEd shall provide functional girl, child, and adolescent health services in every school. PhilHealth shall include maternal care and women's health services in its benefit packages. DOLI shall require workplaces to provide facilities such as breastfeeding areas, toilets, dressing room, and seats appropriate for women employees without compromising their efficiency. All government agencies shall review all existing programs and development plans and guidelines on health services, nutrition, mental health for women. LGUs shall promulgate and implement gender-responsive local ordinances that promote the comprehensive health of girls, adolescents, women, and elderly women, such as GAD Code and Reproductive Health Code. Formulate human resource development plan that will ensure the following. First, sufficient number of skilled health professionals to attend all deliveries. Second, availability of qualified and capable health service providers. Develop and allocate budget for health programs. Monitor the progress of program implementation. Enhance parent effectiveness services and programs to include continuing education on gender-based violence. In every barangay, coordinate with DOH on the provision of health services. Strengthen the local health board. Develop, design, and award system to encourage excellent performance on women's health programs. Organize communities, dialogues with the private sector to implement health programs for women and girls. Rules of NGOs or NGO. Encourage to strengthen advocacy, participation, and assess the LGUs on the implementation of health programs. Comprehensive health information and education. Sexuality education in public and private schools. Sexuality education for parents for enhanced communication with their children. Comprehensive health information and education. Trainings for health services providers. Teen centers for health and sexuality education and counseling. Number 9, special leave benefits for women. Any female employee in the public and private sector, regardless of age and civil status, shall be entitled to a special leave of 2 months with full pay based on her gross monthly compensation due to surgery caused by gynecological disorder with the following conditions. She has rendered at least 6 months continuous employment service. In the event of an extended leave, she may use her earned leave credits. This special leave shall be non-cumulative and non-convertible to cash. Number 10, equal rights in all matters relating to marriage and family relations. The DSWD, DOH, and PAPCOM shall set standards and develop gender-fair modules on marriage, family relations, parent effectiveness. The LGU shall provide trainings and seminars on the popularization of rights and obligations of spouse towards each other to impede the stereotyping of roles, multiple burden, and subordination of women. The LGU shall pre-marriage counseling program, advocacy on the moral obligation and responsibility in assuring the rights and well-being of their children, including number and spacing of children. Include in the trainings and seminar in barangays the Family Code. The Supreme Court, DOJ, IBP, and lawyers shall ensure that gender equality and women's empowerment agenda are mainstream and integrated in the regular mandatory continuing legal education courses conducted for legal practitioners. So, rights and empowerment of marginalized sectors. First, food security, productive resources. Second, right to housing. Third, right to decent work. Fourth, right to livelihood, credit, capital, and technology. Fifth, right to education and training. Sixth, right to representation and participation. 7. Right to information. 8. Social protection. 9. Recognition and preservation of cultural identity and integrity. Peace and development. 11. Women in specially developed circumstances. 12. Services and intervention for women in special difficult circumstances or WEDC. Protection for girl children and protection of senior citizen. So, institutional mechanism. Gender mainstreaming as strategy for implementing the Magna Carta of Women. First, planning, budgeting, monitoring, and evaluation. Second, God Code. Third, creation, strengthening of the God focal points. Fourth, God database. So, here are a composition of the gender focal point for LGUs. Executive Committee, the local chief executive. And there are Chair of Sangguniang Committee on Women, Children, and Family. Chair of Committee on Appropriations. Representatives from PNP, Women Desk, Indigenous People, PWDs, private sector, and other NGOs. Technical Working Group, Secretariat, technical staff from various LGUs departments, technical staff from concerned Sangguniang committees. So, the penalties, the CHR shall recommend the CSC, TILG, Sandigang Bayan, Office of the Ombudsman. The sanctions, either administrative or disciplinary for individuals who fail to comply with and implement the Act, including non-compliance to the GAD budget policy. So, that's all about the Magna Cartas of Women.